I called my adoptive mom, Mom, instead of her name for the first time. My biological parents put me up for adoption the second I was born, and the foster home I was put in, I never felt loved or cared for in the slightest. My foster parents were secret alcoholics, and the only adult figure in my life I genuinely liked was Janice, my homeroom teacher. She smiled when she said hello to me, and she'd give me her chocolate bar to make sure I had lunch. It was more warmth than I had ever felt in my life, and some days she'd even stay after class to help me get better at reading and writing. It was during one of these that Janice found out I was a foster kid. I broke down to her about how I just wanted to be a normal kid with a family and whose parents wanted him. Janice just hugged me tight. She sat me down and told me that she was also a foster child in the past, and from that day on, there was a true connection between us. I started seeing her as a motherly figure. When the final year of elementary school ended, it was time to say goodbye to Janice. I hugged her and cried to her on the last day of the school year. I didn't want to say goodbye to her, and I know she didn't either, because she suggested something to me. She wiped my tears and asked me if I wanted her to be my foster mom. My eyes went wide. I smiled harder than I ever had before and began nodding and repeating yes. I used every method of communication I knew at once to let her know I wanted this, and she just smiled. My alcoholic foster parents were more than happy to get rid of me, as they put it, and Janice welcomed me into her home with open arms. I've been living with her for 3 years now, and she is the best damn mom any kid could ever dream of having. She is so kind. She makes me my favorite meals. She watches kids' shows with me that I missed out on as a child. She gets me gifts for my birthdays. She encourages me to make friends. She even gives me girl advice, and it's actually thanks to that advice I got my crush to say yes to a date. However, there was just one major problem with Janice, and it was exactly that. I never called her mom. She was always Janice or Ms. Keaty to me, and the thought of calling her mom weirded me out at first. But then, as the years passed, and the amount of love, admiration, and respect I had for her grew, I began wanting to call her mom. I started seeing her as my actual mom because she was my mom, and I wanted her to know that. She had actually asked whether or not I would ever call her that in the past, and though she played them off as jokes, I knew she really wanted to be looked at as a mom. And so, this morning I went downstairs, and she was there in the kitchen, frying up some eggs and bacon with toast already on the plate for me. "Good morning," she said to me. "Good morning, Mom," I replied. She froze for a second, dropping the spatula into the pan. She looked over at me and just started ugly crying. She walked over to me, hugged me, and kissed my forehead. She told me she loved me so much, and I replied, "I love you too, Mom." This made her break down crying even harder, and I had to tell her to get back to the pan so the spatula wouldn't melt into the eggs.